how do we respond to this world? You sit and you sweep the garden, because it's true. You have the capacity as a human being, with your measure of suffering and your measure of beauty, to respond in extraordinary ways, says Jack Kornfield in episode 269 of Heart Wisdom, a lamp in the darkness, setting intentions for the return of the light. Happy holidays, happy turning of the seasons. The solstice has come and gone, and the light is coming back. Now, I've tiptoed down the stairs, and I see 4 beautiful presents that Jack has left for us all under the tree this year. The first is a wonderful, heartwarming holiday story, truly tear-jerking and just beautiful. The next is a very resonant, powerful, guided meditation. It is technically a paired meditation called Just Like Me, but if you are alone, I'm sure this can be done using the imagination, as Jack's friend Ram Dass and the namesake of this podcast network often shares. The imagination is a beautiful doorway to the heart. The next present from Jack is a transformational intention-setting ceremony for the new year and beyond. This is actually a blessing cord ceremony, so if you're listening to the intro and want to take part in this ceremony, feel free to get a cord, some type of little string, potentially red, but whatever works, and you can take part in this ritual along with Jack and the students and the entire Sangha listening along. And in regards to the blessing cord ceremony, there's this amazing quote by Jack from this podcast. He says, "I did a blessing cord ceremony 40 years ago with the Lama Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and somebody raised their hand and said to him, 'What exactly do these protect you from?' And Trungpa said, 'Why, yourself, of course,' which is the main protection that we humans need," says Jack. And then the final and maybe sweetest present from Jack in this holiday podcast is the holy, angelic chanting with everybody at Spirit Rock of the mantra Namo. I always really love when he ends these talks with these really sweet, communal chanting, this interweaving and merging of these voices and souls. And it's just such a beautiful way to end a talk and just to think of everybody that was there going out into that mystical, starry, and crisp winter evening. So if you've been looking for some type of recalibration, I know I have. God knows I have. This is the perfect place to cozy up. I know in the back of Be Here Now, Ram Dass has a reading list and he calls it books to hang out with. Well, here's a podcast to hang out with. If you didn't listen to part 1, please go back to last week's episode 268, Rediscovering Your Secret Beauty and Sharing Your Special Gift. Otherwise, I just want to thank you for being here all year with us. I hope you enjoy this holiday special, A Lamp in the Darkness, setting intentions for the return of the light. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you help others through the authenticity of your being, and may your heart be smiling. Namaste.
Another Christmas story for you. Again, Christmas morning, 1952. So these are old stories, but they're relatively recent in the National Story Project. A light drizzle was falling as my sister Jill and I ran out of the church, eager to get home and play with the presents Santa had left for us and our baby sister Sharon. Across the street from the church was a Pan Am gas station where the Greyhound bus stopped. It was closed for Christmas, but I noticed a family standing outside the locked door, huddled under the narrow overhang in an attempt to keep dry. I wondered why they were there, but then forgot it. Once we got home, there was barely time to enjoy our presents. We had to go off to grandparents' house for Christmas dinner. And as we drove down the highway through town, I noticed the family was still there standing outside the closed gas station. My father was driving very slowly now. The closer he got to the turnoff from my grandparents' house, the slower the car went. Suddenly he U-turned and said, "I can't stand it." "What?" asked my mother. "It's those people back there at the Pan Am station standing in the rain, waiting for the bus. They've got children. It's Christmas." When my father pulled into the service station, I saw there were 5 of them, the parents and 3 children, 2 girls and a small boy. My father rolled down his window. "Merry Christmas," he said. "Howdy," the man replied. He was very tall and had to stoop slightly to peer into the car. Jill, Sharon, and I stared at the children, and they stared back at us. "Waiting on the bus?" my father asked. The man said they were. They were going to Birmingham, where he had a brother and prospects of a job. "Well, that bus isn't going to come along for several hours, and you're getting wet standing there. Winborn's just a couple miles up the road. They've got a shed with a cover there and some benches," my father said. "Why don't you all get in the car and I'll run you up there?" The man thought about it for a moment, beckoned to his family, and they climbed in the car. They had no luggage, only the clothes they were wearing. Once they settled in, my father looked back over his shoulders and asked the children if Santa had found them yet. 3 glum faces mutely gave his answer. "Well, I didn't think so," said my father, winking at my mother, "because when I saw Santa this morning, he told me he was having trouble finding you all, and he asked me if he could leave your toys at my house. We'll just go to get them there before I take you to the bus stop." All at once, the 3 children's faces lit up, and they began to bounce around in the back seat, laughing and chattering. When we got out of the car at our house, the 3 children ran through the front door straight to the toys that were spread out under the tree. One of the girls spied Jill's doll and immediately hugged it to her breast. I remember that the little boy grabbed Sharon's ball, and the other little girl picked up something of mine. All this happened a long time ago, but the memory of it remains clear. That was the Christmas when my sisters and I learned the joy of making others happy. My mother noticed that the middle child was wearing a short-sleeved dress, so she gave the girl Jill's only sweater to wear. My father invited them to join our grandparents' Christmas dinner, but they refused. Back in the car on the way to Winburn, my father asked the man if he had money for bus fare. His brother had sent tickets, the man said. So my father reached in his pocket and pulled out $5, which is what he had left till next payday, and pressed the money into the man's hand. The man tried to give it back, but my father insisted. "It'll be late when you get to Birmingham, and these children will be hungry before then. Take it. I've been broke before. I know what it's like when you can't feed your family." We left them there at the bus stop in Winborn. As we drove away, I watched out the window as long as I could, looking back at the little girl hugging her new doll. So how do we respond to this world? You sit and you sweep the garden. And you have the capacity as a human being incarnated in this life, with the measure of suffering you have and with the beauty that you have in your life, to respond in all kinds of extraordinary ways. So I'd like us to do a little practice now, but it's not a solo practice. And it's about a 5 or so minute practice. And what I want you to do is scoot yourself around so that you can look at somebody sitting near you. It has to be done in pairs. You don't have to know the person, maybe even better if you don't, but shh, stay quiet about it, please. And it's a little bit daunting. It needs... Okay, It's a little bit daunting, so it needs your courage, but I'm looking out here and saying, these people have sufficient courage to do this. Plus, which we're in California, what else do you do here, right? All right, so quiet. And first, just take a few deep breaths and quiet yourself. Anybody not have a person to be as a partner, raise your hand and stand up. And look for, stand up, put your hand up. It's only one. Anybody else? There's somebody here, there's somebody in the back. You join another couple then. We'll do a couple of threes. I think this will work. All right, so take a few deep breaths and just look at this person kindly. And if you feel the urge to laugh or look away, you can note the shyness or the embarrassment with real patience and gentleness, and come back when you can to see your partner's eyes. And as you look behind these eyes, you see a beautiful spirit, consciousness that was born into this being, the child of the spirit. Amazing. And when you look deeply, you can see this person is just like me, incarnated in a human body, going through the mysterious journey of life. And this person was once a little child, a little vulnerable child, just like me. And this person has had happy times in their life, just like me. And this person has loved someone, just like me. And this person is creative, dynamic, just like me. And this person has had their heart broken, just like me. And this person has their measure of sorrows, like all human beings, just like me. This person has been hurt and confused and disappointed in life, just like me. And this person has done some things they regret, just like me. And this person has lived beautiful moments, just like me. And this person wishes to be safe and well and loved, just like me. Behind these eyes, when you look deeply, is the child of the Spirit, a timeless consciousness, just like me. I wish you strength and support and well-being in your life, because I know you want to be well and happy, just like me. And feel the blessing of seeing another being deeply, celebrating the mystery of another human life, and being seen. I celebrate the mystery of your human incarnation, of your human life. And I know you want to be well and happy, just like me. You can thank your partner in just any simple way. If only we could see each other that way, says Thomas Merton. If only we could see the secret beauty behind the eyes of those around us, the world would be transformed. So I'd like us to end. I know you really are dying to continue talking to that person because you've fallen in love with them, or they're your new best friend or whatever. All that's cool. And you can, in about 10 minutes when we end, you can spend the rest of your life together if you like. But let's just hang for a tiny bit longer. So I'd like us to end with a little bit of a ritual. You know, on the last Monday that I've taught before the Christmas, New Year's holiday, in some previous years we've done these really beautiful slideshows, but they don't work terribly well in this room because the screen isn't big enough. So we'll do them when we have the new hall open next year. But we've also done blessing chords, which we are going to do in a moment. Before we do them, and as part of this ritual, and it's all optional, you're welcome to do them or not as you like, there's a prior step. And that is to set an intention with the turning of the seasons and the darkest day coming this next week, and then the return of the light, to reflect in your own heart and mind what intentions, what seeds you would like to plant in this world over this next time and in the time ahead. It's really setting the compass of the heart in the direction of your life. And of course there are, in Buddhist tradition, there are all these vows. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. It's a kind of problematic one, since a lot of the sentient beings you live with don't actually want to be saved by you, so you have a kind of little trouble with that one. But the Dalai Lama wakes up with that Shantideva's beautiful vow every morning. May I be a bridge, a raft, a boat for those who need to cross the stream. May I be food for the hungry. May I be medicine for those who are sick. May I be a lamp or a light in the darkness to illuminate the path. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I bring blessing and benefit as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are awakened together. Some little vow like that, Or Diane Ackerman, my friend poet, and I read this often because I find it so inspiring. Her version is, in the name of daybreak and the eyelids of morning, and the wayfaring moon and the night when it departs, I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, a healer of misery, a messenger of wonder, and an architect of peace. And so I would invite you to close your eyes now for just a minute. And if you were to make your own vow or your own heart's intention, as you quiet the mind and listen to the heart, to sit and sweep the garden, what would it be? And if we had a little more time tonight, I would ask you to take the time now to write it down and actually to tell it to someone, because to speak it out loud somehow anchors it in the heart. But we're going to do something different with it this evening, which is to make what are called blessing or protection cords. And this will be part of the ritual. So I'd like a half dozen or 8 people to come up and help me and take a bunch of the cords and then scatter them in clumps around the room. And then people will get a clump and then they'll pass it on to other people who are near them. Let me take one for here for a model. Okay, and that. So go in the back and around and just give a clump to people, and then they'll pass it further to everybody around them. And while they're getting passed out, these were resting in the arms or the robes of Kuan Yin, the goddess of infinite compassion, and then the Buddha. Yeah, I think there's plenty out there, but you can take a few more. Yeah, I think we're good. While they're being passed around, let me talk about this. In the Buddhist tradition, spread all across Asia from Afghanistan through India and China into Japan, the cord, does anybody know who doesn't have now? Raise your hands. I think we're good. Oh, some in the back that direction, so some clumps go back that way. Across Asia, the thread or the cord is used as a symbol for the sacred thread that connects all life. So if you meet a Brahmin priest in India, they will wear a white thread around their body for the whole of their adult life, symbolizing that everything that they do is woven with the thread of the sacred, or sees the sacred in everything that they touch. The reason that we're using this color is, as I said when we did that lovely baby blessing that you sang so happily to Amara, is that it's considered one robe from the thread of a monk or a nun. You can just put them down, then it's fine. Thank you. Put them down wherever you are. It's good. We'll get them later. So basically, you're wearing your robe. I have this one from the Dalai Lama that's made of some kind of unbreakable material. I've literally had it on for about 8 years now, and I don't know, at first I thought it was silk, but now I think it's actually some chemical composition that doesn't. But anyway, basically the idea is that you wear one thread from the robe of a monk or a nun, which symbolizes that when you go into the marketplace, you're carrying your robes from the temple. You're basically a monk or a nun in drag, basically, And you remember that this is your true home. But to make these blessing cords or protection cords work well, we have to tie 3 knots into them. And I did this blessing cord ceremony 40 years ago together with the Lama Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and somebody raised their hand and said to him, "What exactly do these protect you from?" And he said, "Why, yourself, of course," which is the main protection that human beings need. Right? So, here's how you make this blessing or protection cord. You hold it up in your two hands, and the first knot is considered the knot of refuge. And for those who are of the Buddhist persuasion, it's refuge in Buddha, to see the Buddha in every being that you meet, including yourself. Refuge in the Dharma, to follow the way of truthfulness, to follow the path that brings well-being and liberation to your heart and to all that you touch. And the third is the refuge in Sangha, which is to understand that you can't awaken alone, that we support one another, that we're interconnected, and that whatever moments of love or awakening or compassion that grow in you touch everyone you meet and all the ones they meet, and are interconnected like waves that go out across the galaxy, that we're all in this together and we're awakening together. And if you're not of the Buddhist persuasion, which is equally fine, much rather you be a Buddha than a Buddhist, you can reflect on whatever it is that you do hold to be sacred or holy as your refuge, as your deep reminder. And holding this cord, then tie, when you're ready, one knot in the cord that is your commitment to remember this, the sacred or the holy, or to see the Buddha in every being that you meet. The second knot is the knot of compassion, and it begins with the compassion of non-harming, that I undertake reverence for life. I undertake to care with the things of this world, not to take things that don't belong, but to actually be a steward for things. I undertake to care with my words, to speak that which is true and beneficial and useful, the power of speech. I undertake the care to not harm through the misuse of sexuality or intoxicants, but rather to use the sacredness of sexuality or the capacity of the mind to awaken, to not dilute that or dilute it in any way. To undertake the basic principle of non-harming is the ground of compassion, that I undertake not to cause harm to myself and not to cause harm to others, but to live a life of non-harming and compassion. And you can reflect on your own version and intention in that way. And undertaking a life of non-harming yourself and others, tie the second knot into the cord. And then the third knot is how you will use that intention that you just reflected on, the setting the compass of your heart, the direction. As you hold your cord for the third time, remember what you reflected upon. And it could be as simple as, I vow to be kind. It doesn't have to be complicated. And reflecting on what that intention is and what it means to you. Tie the third knot in the cord, which is your reminder and commitment to live with this as the direction of your heart. And now your blessing cord is fully activated. And here's your choice. You can wear it around your neck if you wish, and don't tie it on yet, but if you want that, hang it around your neck and let the two ends hang down. You can wear it around your wrist, wrap it 3 times and let the two ends hang down. Or if you like, you could just put it in your pocket, if you don't want to wear it. Or you could wear it for a little while and take it off. And once you've chosen where you would like it, around your wrist or around your neck, now I would ask that you turn to someone next to you, maybe the person whose eyes you looked in, or someone else, and in a silent way, tie it on, not too tight and not too loose. Remember Goldilocks here. Tie it on so that you can tie it silently and also offer them your silent blessings. And they'll tie yours on. And find someone, if you don't have anybody, make a trio. This is great. It looks like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts out there. It's quite charming. And now, having tied these cords on, I'd like us to end the evening with a very simple chant. And the chant is this: in Sanskrit, in India, when you meet a person, you put your hands together and the greeting is namaste, which means I honor the divine within you. And the root of the word namaste is the word namo, which means to bow to or pay respects to. And I'd like us to chant Namo 9 times and then go out into this glorious, beautiful, dark evening. But there's one little tiny more thing to say before we go. There will be people as you go out the door holding baskets for donations. The donations that are put in the basket tonight will all go to the B Street Soup Kitchen in San Rafael to feed people who are living on the streets in our community, people who are homeless or people who are hungry. And with the rains coming, it's really important to be able to feed people. So I urge you to reach into your store of gifts that you have to offer and put something decent into the basket. And think that as you do, you're really placing something, you're loving people and you're feeding them. So, all right, so here's our chant together as a way to end the evening, and I thank you for your being here. Namo 9 times. And think of it as a blessing that you offer to yourself, to others, and to everyone in this room and out across the world. Namo. 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 Add harmony. Namo. 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 One more. Namo. And may your holidays and the turnings of the seasons bring new light, bring great love and wisdom and understanding into your life, to all you touch and across this beautiful blue-green globe. Thank you. Good night.